A good warm welcome this morning to Jonathan Haslam. Hi, Jonathan. Nice to see
Oh, hiya.
you.
Yes, you
You're
too.
right.
I'm good, thank you.
And
Yeah,
Jonathan's just person-centered counselling, I believe.
I am. Yes, I
Yes,
am. Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
I've done training too in person-centered
Oh,
counselling.
brilliant.
Yeah, back a number of years ago now. So I know all about person-centered and how amazing it can be for people
It
and move
can.
people on. And
Yeah.
so
It's.
it's a fantastic
Oh,
tool, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know that you've got questions for me, but it's the type of therapy I had, which then I had
Yes.
such a positive, life-changing experience that I, in turn, left my job and trained to be a therapist.
Exactly, and that's sometimes what can happen. And the best therapists are people who've had it themselves, quite honestly, who've
Yeah.
gone through that process, because you can walk in their shoes.
And that's what it's about, especially person-centered.
Yes.
It's all about looking at things and trying to not get into the mind of the client, but walk in their shoes, be next to them, be with them.
Absolutely. So just before we, what I'd like to ask is just to introduce yourself, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And just say where you're based, if that's okay. Thank you.
So like you said, I'm Jonathan Haslam, and I'm a person-centered counsellor, psychotherapist, based in Lancaster. So from Lancaster, born and bred in Lancaster. And at the moment, because of lockdown and social distancing, I've started to see a couple of clients in person.
Okay,
again.
Great, lovely.
But I'm respectful of clients' wishes, so I still see some of them online, which I've been doing. I kind of moved to that in March.
Right.
For a while, I was seeing all of my clients, my private clients, and the clients I see from the two places I volunteer at as well. So yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of now, isn't it? The here and now. We can do this, and interestingly, even though you're not physically with that person, it still works as just as effective.
Yeah, I had some concerns to begin with, because my overriding responsibility, and I feel I have a massive responsibility for my clients when I'm with them for that 50 minutes or hour, depending on what they need. That in that space, I am responsible for holding them and looking after them. Sure. And then obviously the session ends and they go out back into the real world. But
Absolutely.
For that 50 minutes, they are my number one priority. And I had some reservations about doing it online because there's a physical distance. Mm-hmm. But no, it's worked, and I didn't see a drop in clients. None of them said, "Oh, I don't want to do it that way." No, it's been fantastic, and it's meant that I've been able to carry on supporting them.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is as well, Jonathan, is that you're not just having to, and I found this with my business too, is there's people that you can get from anywhere now who don't necessarily live just local. So you might get somebody who lives in London or somewhere, even who wants to use your services, but they don't necessarily have to live on your doorstep.
No. To be honest, I haven't found. I've continued to, because I'm quite new. I only started really officially as my full-time job doing this since the end of January. So I picked up clients kind of continuously through the lockdown.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of half expected a huge surge, but I think that people are still coming to terms with the kind of mental impact.
I think it's the processing. People are so much in fear, and I think certainly what your service does provide, it will be hugely needed going forward. Maybe not right near here and now, but certainly once as we move forward, without a doubt.
And I think that, unfortunately, the impact in all various ways of what we're going through is barely started, and it's sad to think that, but it's just the beginning in that sense.
It is. We don't know. It's new to everybody. It's new to everybody. We don't know, and people have taken it in different ways, haven't they? People are, so that's, we've got to be mindful of all that. What was your background, please, before you were doing this, just as a matter of interest?
I kind of just floated around from job to job, a lot of office work. I've done all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because I'm 42, so I only started training when I was 39. So I did years. I worked in call centres in Preston and Warrington in the 2000s, and then I've worked in the town hall in Lancaster. I've worked at Lancaster University doing admin. So it's been a lot of customer service and admin
type roles. Yeah, brilliant.
And to be honest, I kind of just fell into them.
Yeah.
None of them were really, I really want to work in council tax and things like that. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed a lot of the jobs I had, but
it's still working with people, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, and that's the thing that if there's a through line, it's that it was always talking to people, trying to help people and resolve
whatever issue they have. Yes. So What do you love about doing the counselling? What do you love about your job?
Loads of different things. To be honest, it's that two-way process, especially when you're sharing a space with somebody. It's kind of, as I developed and trained as a therapist, you learn to use all of your senses, and it's I find it almost indescribable, that kind of, you can feel the air, and you can kind of feel the air shifting between the two of you, and it's having that one-to-one time. The world is a really busy, stressful place.
It is
at the moment. People feel, and I'm talking from my own experience and things that clients have told me, people feel pulled in all different directions all the time. Time pressures, especially in the last maybe 10 years, there's this kind of social media pressure to have everything and to be everything.
Yeah.
And I just find it fantastic, and there's just, it's almost beautiful feeling of being with somebody one-to-one for that 50 minutes and forgetting everything else. Everything else is in the outside world, and we're together, and I'm here for my client, and they can tell me whatever they want to tell me, and they can talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah, and interestingly, a lot of people, they're not, one thing that I think with counselling is people don't feel listened to, do they? So
Absolutely.
the beauty about counselling is you feel like somebody's actually listening to you.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's impartial.
It is impartial, and that's the difference. And I know that clients say to me, well, I have friends and I can talk to friends, but there's almost this thing where they're my friends, therefore I don't want to do anything. This thing, because I worry if I tell them everything about my life all the time, they're going to get sick of it or whatever. And so you're right, it's impartial, and I'm not in their lives. They're not in their lives.
No.
Each other once a week, and it's very impartial, and that's the kind of the best way to describe it.
So what would you say are the benefits of your treatment for the people or the clients that you see?
It's an interesting question, because it's not, I don't see it as kind of an A plus B equals C thing. What I see it as, and people can come for lots of different reasons, for very simple reasons, for one reason. They've got relationship problems and they're trying to figure it out, or it could be a multitude of reasons. And what tends to happen is that people come for one thing and it develops, and when we work together and we explore, and that's the benefit. It's that people feel, like you said, listened to, they feel understood, which is even more important. Yeah. And I feel that that's one of the key differences between person-centered therapy and maybe some others. I know that I'm not disparaging other types of therapy, and different types of therapy work for different people, for different needs.
It does.
Person-centered, in the way that I practice, it's not just offering somebody the fact that I'm listening to them. It's that I'm working constantly in the session to see things from what's called their frame
of reference. Yeah.
And I think when people get that for the first time, it's mind-blowing. And then when they feel that from me, then we're off and we can really work together. And I always say this to new clients, it's a two-way street, and I will challenge them when I feel it's appropriate. Not in a directive way or an attacking way, but if I feel that they've said something and they've kind of let it slip out, I will kind of grab it and pull it back and say, what was that about? Where did that come from?
Sure.
Because if a client has said it, even if it's to kind of blurt it out, they've said it for a reason. And so I will kind of grab that very gently and say, well, what was that? Where did that come from? Let's look at that for a little bit. And
definitely.
And then I hope that and some of my clients do, they challenge me and say, well, I don't really agree with that, Jonathan. That's not what I really meant. And I love that, because it becomes a real two-way process.
And also the ultimate thing with counselling as well is building up that trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
Building up that trust with everybody, and that, and they feel like they can trust you to say what they want to say, and having that confidentiality as much as possible.
Yes, and that's one of the big things for me is, and it's because it's why I offer a free 30-minute session to anybody. If you've had therapy before, if you've never had therapy, that's why I offer it, because it's all about, if a client comes to me and we have that free 30-minute session, I really kind of lay out how I work, but also the confidentiality, the boundaries. And we go through a contract. I have a paper contract, and we go through that, and I explain how safe, but also boundaried as well, so they can feel safe and they can feel respected as well.
Of course, because if they're not, then they won't invariably open up to you.
No. And if they don't, if they feel that they can't do that, then they won't feel safe enough to invest in the process.
No, absolutely.
And if that's the case, then we're wasting each other's time. And I don't want any of my clients to ever feel that they're wasting their time.
Absolutely. So I know you've given us a little bit of background about how you got into it and things like that. What are your passions in? What do you enjoy it? What do you enjoy doing? Your interests. Yeah, what's your interest?
At the moment, this is kind of one of my main ones.
Yeah, fantastic.
Because I'm so new to it.
Yeah.
It is, and I've been it feels like I've been waiting my whole life to do this. And
absolutely.
I've never had anything that's a vocation for me.
No. In
the way that other people maybe talk about what they do for a living. So I do switch off in a sense. I don't kind of bring my client work home, but you don't switch off once you train to become a therapist and you get in that mindset of the Carl Rogers, like we were talking about before the interview started, the core conditions, and it does not switch off. It just doesn't switch off. And so at the moment, my passion is growing my business, and I'm looking at I have a website, but I'm right now looking and speaking to other website designers and online marketing professionals in the Lancaster area, and getting some advice, because I'm planning to kind of have a bit of not a relaunch, but a refresh, and have like
a branding, like a branding
more of a cohesive. I don't want to talk too much about boring stuff like that, but just have a cohesive branding across all my social media, and have a website where people really feel that they can get a proper flavour of who I am and what I do.
Because I think that's what counselling is, isn't it? It's more of a feeling, it's more of a sensing, a more of a touchy-feely, like, you've got to feel right with that person that's doing that work.
yeah,
with
yeah,
you on a
yeah,
one-to-one, and you know, and I think it has to come across in all your things that you put out as much as possible, really.
yeah.
I mean,
And
it's sorry.
and so I was just going to say, and the other and that kind of follows on to the other stuff. So the other things that I do is I not only have private clients, I volunteer at 2 different counselling
Oh,
places in Lancaster as well. So when I did my training, I had to do a placement, and so I'm still there.
oh, that's lovely.
They're called the North Lancashire Counselling Service, and they're based
Ah,
in Lancaster on Sulyard Street, down the
yeah,
side
yeah.
of
I
the
know where
golf
you
club.
mean. Yeah,
They're closed at the moment. They're looking to open in September. I just had an email from the chairperson yesterday. They're looking to reopen,
that's
but
good.
during lockdown, I've been working online with some of my clients there. And then the other place that I started to volunteer at just before, a week before lockdown happened, is Change, Grow, Live, or Inspire, it's called, which is
Okay.
a drug and alcohol
Yeah,
recovery
yeah, yeah, yeah.
service. And they're that green door that's next to the Dalton Square Pharmacy. So
Okay, yeah.
I do counselling with them as well.
Oh,
So
that's lovely that you're giving something back as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. And
Because I think we have to, I mean, you know, not everybody can unfortunately afford to have counselling, and perhaps some people who do need counselling you know, are on very low income, so it's great that they've got somewhere they can go where it's more cost effective for them,
yeah,
you know, as
absolutely.
much as possible. And certainly in these challenging times, it's more crucial than ever. Obviously, because I want to bring it to a close shortly,
Yeah, of course.
how would people get in touch with you, please? I know you
Okay.
said you've got, but what's your email or telephone number until you get your website sorted?
Well, I
Or
have a website, and people can contact me through that.
oh,
It's just Jonathan Haslam Counselling, all one word,
yeah,
jonathanhaslamcounselling.com.
yeah,
And
lovely.
my other contact details are on there, my email address and phone number, but or they contact me through my profile on Google. But you put me on the spot here. I'm not very good at remembering numbers and stuff.
Don't worry, because what we'll be doing is on the thing that we put out there, there'll be all your contact details
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So I think your website suffices, to be quite
It
honest. So
does. It
yeah,
does.
because
And
all your details are on there anyway.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. And people don't need to put a lot. You know, if they want to, when they contact me, you know, if they email me or text me, they can either put as much as they want, or they just say that I'm looking for help, please help,
Sure.
and I'll call them back, and we'll arrange a time to speak on the phone or online, or they can come, and if they feel safe, to come out, because I know that some people are still not allowed to leave home at the moment because of the
And
coronavirus.
that must be very hard. Must be very hard for people at the moment. Well, you know, certain individuals at the moment, definitely.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
really lovely to speak to you
Yeah.
today, Jonathan.
Yes, you too, yeah.
And I hope I speak to you again soon.
Yeah.
Obviously, this will be out there for people to see, for anybody who needs locally any help and support. But
Yeah.
also, if they're even further afield, there's the added advantage of being able to do it this way as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
Whichever online medium, Skype, WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever the client wants to work
requires.
with, then that's absolutely fine as well.
Thank you for talking to me. I
No,
much
no, thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much. It's been
Thank you.
fantastic.
Take
Okay.
care. Thank you.
Cheers.